A lovely day to go pick up some scrap. Got the trailer hooked up, we're ready to go. Well, we're here at Target collecting our scrap. Get some good scrap there, right, babe?
No.
Well, apparently you can buy scrap from Target. Let's get this thing the rest of the way unloaded and take a good look at it. Well, I guess I just like to torture myself with these little John Deere excavators. Here it is, John Deere 190E. It's pretty clear. This is nowhere near as nice as that 70D I had. But price is right, and she's got her fair share of issues, so you guys are going to get some entertainment of fixing her up. Let's do a quick walk around here. Blade's fairly decent. Looks like they definitely moved some material, some yardage with the counterweight. Jesko, so it came out of southern New Jersey somewhere, and until they weren't shy. She's hit some things. Got her fair share of leaks. We got boom cylinder, leaks pretty good. Dipper cylinder leaks. This one here, it probably leaks. Undercarriage isn't too awful bad. It's got wider pads than the 70 did. We got a blade. 70 didn't have a blade. Cab's a little rough. Like I said, they weren't shy. They hit some things. I bought this off a fellow YouTuber, and he does a little bit of dirt work here and there, but you can check his channel out. I believe it's Case 580L Man is his channel name. I'll tag it down below here. But yeah. So our main issue here, I mean, as you see, it starts, it runs, it moves. But the problem we're running into is, so you fire her up, throw your lock lever, you lift the boom up, but she don't want to swing. Now if you're moving a little bit, you can swing all you want. And if you keep it moving while you're swinging, it'll keep going. But as soon as you stop, oh, well, that's kind of funny. That's interesting. There we have it. So we have a swing brake issue. You can tell this machine's been sitting for a little while. Everything is just sticky. These are sticky, so it's just gonna need a little bit of TLC here and there. And a good power washing definitely wouldn't hurt. But let's crawl up here. Now, Victor did change some things. He changed these solenoids on this valve body there. So I gotta do a little bit of research, but I'm gonna have to guess this here would be our swing brake line, if not this one. That I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research on, because it's a little bit different than anything I've had. Anyway, let's continue working on our throttle. So these are, it's a Hitachi basically with a John Deere engine in it. And what do we got here? So, zip tie, we got this clamp. That's our problem there. Get this clamp. It's got our line pretty well pinched shut. Okay, so what this leads me to believe is we have computer issues, electronic issues, mostly. Swing brake, I gotta do a little bit of research on how they work. I believe they work off pilot pressure. And so pilot pressure, basically when you hit your swing, it compresses a spring that releases the brake, and that allows the swing motor to spin. Because if the swing brake wasn't working, you'd be able to just push this thing all over. If you'd be swinging all over the place. So I gotta figure out where the swing brake circuit is and troubleshoot that part. Another thing, you turn the key on, you know the clicking back there? Something's not happy. Not happy at all. So, yeah, we gotta figure out what's not happy back there. I gotta do a little bit of research. If you guys have been following the channel, the Hitachi that I had, that 120 that we pulled out of the woods, the abandoned one, that one had some issues as well, and I actually bypassed all that. But this machine's a little bit different. It's the same but different. You know, all the joysticks and dash and everything's the same as that machine. So I'd imagine the hydraulic system might be similar as well. Let me do some research and I will update you when I find something. Alright, so this back window was blown out for a little while. And basically that led to a lot of corrosion back in here. So I started checking fuses because these 1 amp fuses are pretty important. And some of these 5 amp fuses are important. I gotta look. I can't find it right now, but I've got a whole diagram on my 120 that I had, and that told me what all these did. But I do know there's a fuse in here that if you pull it, it'll disable all the electronics and it make the machine go into like a limp mode. Anyway, I want to check some of these fuses. I've got a hunch that even if they're not bad, they're not getting good connection because you can see a lot of corrosion down in these terminals. So I'm gonna check these fuses, see what we find. Alright, so I had a little bit of time to tinker with this thing again. And as much as I'd love to show you the entire troubleshooting process of this, there's just not enough time in the day because these videos would be hours and hours and hours of long. I'm sure some of you would enjoy it, but I know that I'd get very bored editing this. So what I was doing is I was trying to fix our manual throttle. I started making this bracket and I reran the line and fixed it so that it moves freely because it wasn't moving freely. I was originally trying to troubleshoot why the electronic throttle doesn't work, and I believe the ECM is actually fried, and that would be this big box right here. I believe that's fried because when you turn the key on, you hear that clicking. Well, that clicking corresponds back here to this here, which is called your stepper motor, which runs your throttle. So when that's clicking, you can feel this motor pulsing. So anyway, like I said, I just wanted to get the manual throttle that was put in here working a little bit better. I don't really want to put an ECM in this machine. I mean, I'm sure I can get some help with that. I mean, there's a couple people I work with that would definitely send one out to us. But what really concerns me is, why is ECM fried? Is there something I'm missing that's going to fry it again? I just don't have the diagnostic tools to figure that out. But anyway, I'm starting to ramble on here. So, what I'm trying to get at is, I made her throttle work better. So, crank her up. Bear with me, I need 2 hands to run the throttle. So we grab our throttle like this. thing, it runs just like it should. So I'm not entirely sure, like I said, unless there was like a stuck valve in the pilot system, because that's the only thing I can think of. Because the way this brake works is pilot pressure releases a disc brake. So when you swing the machine, the pilot pressure gets routed to the swing brake as well, and it releases that brake. And as soon as you let off, the swing brake, it doesn't stop you. It's only to hold you. There's actually a, what's a good name for it? It's like a compression brake or a load shock brake or something like that. I can't, the actual word for it slipped my mind right now, but that is like what it does is it forces the fluid against each other inside the motor and it slows you down. The swing brake is just to hold you so that when you're digging, the machine can't move. So, I'm sorry, there's a lot of bugs here, so that's why I keep itching. But yeah, so I'm not sure if there was something stuck or sticky but whatever it is, it works now. So, we're gonna call that problem fixed until it arises again. So a pet peeve of mine is keeping glass in a machine. When machines sit open, the cabs aren't meant to be exposed to the elements, and everything gets sticky. Like, I mean, this is stiff, and so this interlock, which is kind of different, I'm not used to this, it also locks travel pedals. So if you look right now, they're locked. Flip that forward, and they work. So like everything in there is sticky. None of the seat functions work if they're all seized up. So I got some of this cheap Tractor Supply penetrating oil. Just gonna spray everything down in here. That also slides too. Alright, so I spent a little bit of time last night. Just cleaned the cab up a little bit. Removing all the glass and junk because this window was blown out before I got it. And yeah, it's a little bit nicer in here now. I don't know. I'm kind of picky about that stuff. I really like to have machines as clean as they can be, and it's kind of driving me nuts that the side of the cab's open right now. Alright, so it seems we have our swing brake issue fixed. But every once in a while it'll still act up. And here's what I've stared at this for quite a while to try and figure out how it works. So the previous owner replaced all these sensors here. These are for your high and low speed travel or idle. I don't remember which. I think these are for the idle, or maybe that's this. Anyway, basically they sense pilot pressure, and when the pilot pressure, I guess, drops, it'll tell the machine it can idle up, because when you pull on a lever you're gonna have a slight drop in pressure. And anyway, they're unrelated to our problem. This line here is a pilot feed down to our swing motor. And let me see if I can get you down here. So on the side of the swing motor here, this I believe is a shuttle valve. And the way a shuttle valve works is there's a big spring in there and there's another outlet. So basically the spring will offset, say, 250 psi. And when you apply 300 psi, it'll push the spring and send the fluid through to release the brake. So in here would be our mechanical control for releasing the spring brake. I'd like to take this off because I think maybe there's some trash jammed in there. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like there may be a problem in this shuttle valve, and that would make a lot of sense why, if you give it just a little bit more pilot pressure by running the tracks per se, it releases, or when you throttle it up real good, it'll release as well. So I just want to take this apart and clean it up and make sure there's nothing wrong in there, and hopefully we don't destroy any gaskets. It should be O-ring, but anyway, yeah, so that's our next step. Get that off. Alright, here's the shuttle valve. You can see it's got 2 ports here. Those are bolt holes. Pilot pressure comes in here, and I'm not sure where this line goes. I believe it goes to somewhere on the swing drive. I didn't trace the line. And we got these 2 ports here, so I'm assuming take this plug out of the bottom, we'll be able to pull the whole shuttle assembly out. And there'll be a spring and some sort of spool with passages, but I'm not exactly sure what it's gonna look like or what we're gonna find, so we'll take it out and figure it out. Alright. Oh boy. She had some torque on her. Alright, let's see. Sorry, you guys aren't going to be able to see this, but I don't know what kind of spring's going to be in here, or maybe none at all. Alright. Alright, stand by. Let me get a clean rag here to lay this stuff out on. Alright, so first, I'm going to pull a spring out. I'm going to have to take it out of the vise to get the rest of it out. Okay. Got some hydraulic coil. Got a spool. And that's that. And that's all we got. Got this spool valve here. Looks to be in okay shape. I don't see any problems with this. And the spring holds pressure on it. There's really nothing else in there. Blow through these ports, make sure they're clear, but I don't know. Alright, so I didn't find any debris in here. I put compressed air through top port, and it seems to bleed out through this side port. These 2 ports are connected when it's in this position. So I'm not really sure there's much that can go wrong here. Everything here seems to be operating properly. Well, it's been a little bit, but you gotta keep moving forward on this thing. So today's project, this pull throttle really kind of sucks. So I got something better. I wanted something that's more comparable to like an older excavator with a manual throttle. So this is a throttle control out of a JCB backhoe. Nice long cable. And it's set up the same way as the original throttle actuator motor would be on that 190. Well, I'm not sure about what size threads we're going to have there, but worst case we'll re-tap that. So this works nice and free. There's a nut in the back side you can tighten up that'll make it stiffer or whatever. Took this piece of box tube, marked it out the way I want it oriented. I'm going to turn this box tube into a decent angle. Cut that, cut that. We'll weld it in on the seat frame. The plan is going to be to bolt it in right here. So you pull it back for full throttle, up for idle. You have your key here, your throttle there. Be really convenient to run it, won't be in the way, and it won't be a pain in the butt to run like this. This here, it's too hard to pull. So we'll save that for something else and get our throttle installed right here. Alright, so I was going to cut the top out of this, but I don't have to. So this is how it's going to work. We're going to weld that to the frame of the seat. Get another lock nut for there. Alright, so we're going to weld this thing in place. should do just fine. Alright, so what we gotta do is we gotta try and get this end off of here. I'd like to see if we can reuse this ball joint end. I think we can. Let's see, it's gonna be stubborn. Here we go. Hoping it's the same thread. Looks very similar. Alright, a little bit of persuasion and nature's Loctite. Kind of cut its own threads into this, and this seems pretty solid. I got the jam nut tightened down, so let's put it in place and see what we can do to make a hold down. This is almost perfect. Got that. We need like a little bit more out of it. It even like kind of lines up in the factory spot there. I think we can get it. It's gonna take a little bit of finagling, but we'll get it. I think if we put it like that, it's perfect. All right, let me get some washers, cut some slots in them, so we can make this work. Got our Pac-Man washers in here. It's kind of the lazy man's way of doing this, but you guys aren't going to see a whole lot, but I'll show you the finished product. So, that is officially hooked up. Just got to tighten down these washers back here, or these nuts, and we should be in good shape. Okay. Pretty good. Ugh. Well, here we are. More hydraulic cylinders repacked. So yeah, I'm pretty sure if any of you guys have been sticking around, you know I've rebuilt a bunch of hydraulic cylinders. Same deal here. So we'll get the gland nut off. This one's a little tight. I already kind of wrapped on it some, but alright, should be good to use our special tool now. All these years, never had one of these things. And it's definitely a nice thing to have. Well, when it don't slip off. I guess a pin wrench would be ideal for this one, but I don't have one of them. So in order to pull the rod out, we gotta get this pin out for the dog bone linkage. These actually aren't that bad. It's kind of a good design, but also kind of a bad design. So you got this like snap ring basically that holds the pin there. The pin's just floating in there. So we'll get a screwdriver, we'll pull the snap ring off. There's normally a separation in it somewhere. Yeah, right there. So yeah, we'll pull that off, pull the pin out, drive that pin out, and then we should be able to pull this chrome rod out. Just get it in there like that, work it out. Watch your fingers, take that off, and then usually, yeah, just push that out. Now this pin, with as much slop as this thing's got, that pin should kind of just fly out of there. I was just about to go get a hammer. It's a friggin' air hammer right here. Okay. Got some shims in there. Probably not the most useful, but you know. got the former funnel zip tied to the hydraulic cylinder, catch bucket on a milk crate, cylinder strapped down. Hopefully this avoids a lot of the mess. I really got a wrench on this thing to get it out of here, because normally they kind of slide out. This one's pretty tight. This thing's really in there. Kind of working back and forth. I think it's coming out. So yeah, okay. All right, I think it's gonna go now. Let's see. Maybe we can try and minimize this mess. Okay. We did not minimize. Oh, hang on. I don't think any of that went in the bucket. Well, the rod's out. Oil's on the floor. Not in the bucket at all. I lied. The oil is in the bucket. Just not the right bucket. I've never seen one of these with a set screw before. Why? Oh, come on. 48-inch pipe wrench. And we got the skid steer for muscle. If that don't do it, we'll get the mini excavator, but skid steer should be able to do it. Alright, so I was going to rebuild the hydraulic cylinders in it, but when I cracked that one open, I found some things in there that means somebody's been there before, and they did some not so proper repairs in there. So, somebody's been in these other ones too, and I'm kind of afraid to take them apart. At the end of the day, this machine kind of is what it is. It doesn't leak that bad, at least as far as I can tell. So I think we're going to let those cylinders alone because I don't want to cause more problems, and I was doing a little bit of research. I can't seem to find used cylinders for this machine, and the handyman work I've seen in this one kind of scares me a little. Alright, we got this step here. I straightened it out because it was bent down, but the welds broke obviously. Let's get that weld back up. Interesting. Always something to fix, huh? Well, it's clean. What better time to do a power washing machine than the pouring down rain? I'm gonna get wet regardless, so might as well do it then. Alright, so I was doing a little bit of testing here, making sure everything's all good. And the only thing I want to do is I want to tighten up this throttle a little bit more. So you get in here, throttle's a little loose. So what you gotta do is there's this little nylock nut down here. Tighten that up. And it basically squishes a rubber washer in there, so tighten up a little more. Try that be a little tighter and looser. That way the throttle don't creep down on you. But yeah, let's test this thing out. Let's do a little bit of digging. Oh yeah, by the way, throttle works nice. The temperature gauge works, fuel gauge seems to work. We got 7,706 hours. I don't know if the hour meter works or not. Yeah, temperature gauge is decent. I don't know if that's normal, if it should be a little lower, but I think that's acceptable. So yeah, I think we got this thing pretty much ready to go to work. It's still a long ways away from being perfect, but it definitely runs and it digs and it tracks and it works good now. We got the swing drive issue pretty much sorted out, I believe. I don't know if it was a combination of some crud in that shuttle valve we took apart or just needed to be run. I'm not really sure. I have a feeling this machine sat for quite a while without being used, and I think the more you run it, the more it'll come back. Unfortunately, the electronics inside the cab are just they're just shot. They're just beyond repair without dumping an ungodly amount of money into it. And it's sad to say it, but this old machine is just not really worth putting the money into fixing the electronics properly. It works the way it should. It digs, runs, tracks, fires up. We got throttle working nice, a lot better than that pull cable. It's gonna make somebody a good machine. Definitely good for like around the house, or if you had a hunting cabin or something. Be perfect for something like that. Would I take it out on a job every day? Probably not, but it's a good old workhorse, that's for sure. So as always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.